Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off in a child's pose position. Bring your big toes together, open your knees a bit wider, send your hips back to your heels, and stretch your fingertips long in front of you. Option to bring your forehead down to the mat. And take these first few moments to bring your focus and awareness to your breath. Feel the length of your spine. Your fingertips can crawl slightly forward as your hips pull back. And send your breath into the space between your shoulder blades. Every inhale, feel that area expand. And every exhale, let your hips sink heavier to your heels. And then slowly roll yourself up to a tabletop position. Allow your knees to stay slightly separated and start to take some circles with your hips to the right. Now, option here to flip your toes under to give you a little more stability if that feels better in your body. And take about 3 or 4 big circles with your hips going around to the right, just getting a little bit of movement into your hips and lower body, and then start to take these circles in the opposite direction. Push into your palms. Just find this nice range of motion through your hips. Take about 1 or 2 more circles. Bring yourself back to tabletop. And now lift your right leg out to this side. Now you could keep the knee bent or you could extend your leg, your choice. And then lower your foot or your knee and then lift it up. And keep doing that, lower and lift. We're gonna take about 8 of these. So your leg again can either be extended or bent. And obviously we're gonna start to get a little bit of activation into the outer right glute. Push into your hands, bring a little more weight into your right hand. And then after your 8th time, hold for about 10 seconds. Really starting to feel the activity in your outer right glute. And then if the leg is straight, go ahead and bend it. Bring your right knee back down. We're gonna take that on the opposite side. So shift your weight a little more over to the right as you pick up your left knee. You could keep the knee bent or you could extend your left leg and then start to lower and lift. So once again, we're starting to feel that activation into the outer left glute. The core is quite involved here as well. We take about 8 of these. Find a lot of control. So never allow the foot to just drop. Really engage your core. And then after your 8th time, hold with your leg lifted, about 10 seconds. Mind over matter, just try to hold and feel that left glute activated. And then bend your knee, bring your left knee down to the ground. Downward facing dog, flip your toes under, lift your hips up. Push your armpits towards your big toes. Lift your right leg up off the ground and then bend your right knee and open your hip. Just allow a little bit of freedom here. And then start to take some circles with your right knee. So pull the knee in towards your chest, open your knee out to this side, and we take about 3 or 4 circles going in one direction. Continuously pressing down into your palms. Feel the length behind your left leg, and then start to take these circles in the opposite direction. Take about 3 or 4, and then re-extend your right leg. Pull your right knee towards your right elbow and step your right foot so it comes outside of your right hand. And in this low lunge position, start to take some circles with your hips or with your legs. So it's gonna feel maybe a little strange, it's just gonna be a little bit of movement. Take about 3 circles in one direction, about 3 circles in the other direction. It doesn't necessarily have to look like anything. We just wanna feel a bit of movement into this wide lunge. Come back to neutral, keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up, and start to rotate so you're coming onto the outer edge of both of your feet. So you can kind of heel toe your right foot back behind you, push into your bottom hand, reach your right arm up. Feel that nice opening into the outer right hip. And then slowly lower your hips. You may feel a bit stretched differently through the right hip, and then push back up. And reach your right fingertips over your right ear. We're gonna take that 2 more times. Lower with control, and then push back up. Big movement here. And then 1 more time, just like that. Lower with control. Push yourself back up, revolve yourself back so your right hand comes down to the ground. And once again, find your 3-legged dog with your right leg up into the air. Now pull your right knee up towards your right wrist. Try to bring your shin forward. And then something a little different here, bring your back knee, kind of scooch it in. So you're trying to get your back left knee kind of right next to the arch of your right foot. This is a little challenging. Bring your hands to prayer and then send your hips back. So it may feel a bit awkward. You may have to kind of adjust your left shin. But I want you to take about 8 of these. So you're kind of finding a squatting exercise with your hips. You're pulling your hips back. Try not to allow your chest to go too far down. And again, it may feel a bit awkward, and that's okay. This is meant to really activate into the glutes, which I'm sure you're experiencing. Now, after your 8th time, hold. Hold it low, option to keep your hands at prayer, or you can extend your arms. Hold for about 10 seconds. And then come all the way up, reach your arms up overhead, take just a moment here, allow the front of your hips to open up, and then bring your hands down to the ground and find a true half pigeon. So kind of readjust your legs, pull your right shin forward, slide your left leg back. You could take a moment here to sit up nice and tall. You could stay upright, or you could start to crawl your hands forward and come into your half pigeon. And we'll be here for about 60 seconds. So just find a nice big deep breath. Think of that breath that we established at the beginning of the practice. Fill the space between your shoulder blades as you inhale. And as you exhale, allow yourself to sink a bit heavier onto your front right shin. And we're about halfway through, so if you want to make any kind of adjustments, maybe you're able to walk your fingertips a little further out. Notice any areas you may be holding on to tension that's not really serving the pose. For me, it's typically my jaw, but maybe check in with your eyebrows, your shoulders. And slowly start to come out of this. So bring your hands under your shoulders, flip your back toes, and move into a 3-legged dog. So your right leg comes up into the air. Bend your right knee, open your hip. Option to stay right there, or option to bring the right leg, it comes all the way back behind you into a flip dog. And again, that is optional. Feel free to go there if it feels accessible. Just a nice way to open through the front of your hips. And now slowly revolve yourself back to downward facing dog. We'll take all of that on the second side. Lift your left leg, bend your left knee, open your hip, actively push into your palms, and then start to circle your left knee. So your left knee can pull into your chest, and then open out to the side and take some nice hip circles here, about 3 or 4 in one direction. Maintain that you're pushing down into your palms, and then go ahead and take these circles in the opposite direction. Getting nice and lubricated into the hip. Continue to push down into your palms. Re-extend your left leg. And now pull your left knee towards your left elbow and gently step your left foot so it comes outside of your left hand. So you're in this wide, low lunge position, and start to find some circular motion here. So that can be out and around to the right. Your back foot's going to respond a little bit to this motion. That's okay, just kind of moving forwards and backwards. Maybe take 3 or 4 in one direction and then go ahead and move that in the opposite direction. Maybe finding a bit more openness into the front of the right hip, or of course some openness into the left hamstring. And then we'll move into a twist. So your right hand is down, your left hand is up. Start to toe heel your left foot so it comes a little more to the center as you push the hips up. And then lower your hips down to the ground. And you can bring your left arm to the side. We're going to take that 2 more times. Push down into your bottom hand. Lift your hips up. Open through your left side body. And then gently, gently lower your hips down to the mat. We'll take that 1 more time. Push up through the hips. Feel that nice opening into the outer left glute. And then slowly, slowly release your hips down. Now this time, lift your hips, bring yourself back to a low lunge position, push into your hands, 3-legged dog, left leg up into the air. And now pull your left shin forward. This is our little funky position. Bend your right knee, slide it forward. You can kind of adjust your right shin. And then come on up to stand on your knees. Hands can come to hips or prayer, wherever you feel stable. And then start to find this kind of squatting position. So I have to adjust my right shin to find a bit more stability. You can find that as well. But really imagine sticking your hips back. Try not to let your chest drop too much. So this is meant to be pretty active through the glutes, which you're probably experiencing. The core is also working quite a bit here as well. We're going to take about 8 of these, lots of control, nice and long through the spine. And then hold your 8th set, hips are back, reach your fingertips forward. About 10 seconds of holding here. Hips pull back, fingertips reach forward. And then slowly bring yourself upright. Take a moment in this upright position, push the hips forward, lift open through the chest and the heart. Bring your hands down. And then move yourself into your half pigeon. So it's a bit of adjustment to bring the left shin forward, to slide the right thigh back. You can stay in an upright position for a moment, and when you feel ready, you can release yourself over into a half pigeon. And to match the opposite side, we'll be here for about 60 seconds. Notice any differences you may feel right away from one side to the other, maybe feeling a little more supple through your hips. Notice what happens to your breath immediately as we come into this deep hip opener. Every exhale, allow your hips to sink a little heavier towards the mat. Notice any areas in your body where you may be holding on to tension that's not really serving the posture. Try to let that go. Find a little wiggle of movement through your shoulders, through your neck. And feel the rise and fall of your belly and your chest as you breathe. Give yourself one more big breath here and slowly come out of this. Your hands will come under your shoulders. Flip your back toes, find your 3-legged dog, left leg up into the air. Bend your left knee, option to stay there or option to bring your left foot down to the ground. Push your hips up, open through your chest and your heart space. And then slowly revolve yourself back to downward facing dog. Last moment in downward facing dog, give it one big honest breath. And then we slowly step your feet forward, bend your knees and come all the way down to your back. Happy baby, catch the inside or outsides of your feet or your ankles. Pull your knees towards your armpits. Take a bit of easy movement here. Finding some nice opening into the inner hips, inner thigh, and groin. Try to flatten your lower spine down to the ground. And then release your legs long and heavy in front of you. Bring your arms to your side, allow your eyes to close. And find a quiet moment for yourself to reconnect with your breath. Take this moment of mindfulness and notice any differences or shifts you may feel physically or maybe mentally. And most importantly, take this moment of gratitude. You took the time today to carve out a bit of time for your health and wellness. Thank you for joining us. And that's your flow.